Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wayne's World. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Sarah. Good to have you with us.
Tonight we're digging into what's going on with digital ID in the UK, what warnings we should heed from other countries, and how easily this can slide into full control. We'll also take a look at news from America.
That's going to be a heavy one. Let's dive in.
First, what is happening in the UK? Under Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government, there are proposals to introduce a mandatory digital identity scheme, sometimes called the Brit Card or Digital ID Card, for right-to-work checks.
Right. It's not supposed to be a requirement that you carry it or flash it all the time, but if you want to gain a legal job, you're expected to have a verified digital identity.
They also plan to integrate it with the new online wallet and digital versions of licenses and documents.
The legislation side is underway. The data, use, and access bill is supposed to give statutory footing to digital verification services, though officially not yet a full mandatory ID card system.
Exactly. But here's the red flag. Though they say no one will be forced to carry it, mandatory for right to work means de facto compulsion. You can't get a job without it.
Critics, including civil liberties groups, already warn this could shift power toward the state, centralize data, and create surveillance vectors.
To make matters worse, cybersecurity experts warn, building a vast database or cross-referencing systems turns it into a huge hacking target.
Right. Even if the data is mostly local or federated, linking datasets can leak metadata, correlation risks, and unknown vulnerabilities.
Now let's go global for context. Because this isn't theoretical, in many countries, digital ID or centralized data systems have already failed or been compromised.
For example, in Vietnam, they recently deactivated over 86 million bank accounts because those accounts failed to meet new biometric identification requirements.
That's not just failure, that's mass exclusion. People locked out of their accounts, their money, their livelihoods, effectively punished for non-compliance.
And simultaneously, Vietnam's National Credit Information Center, CIC, was hacked by a group called Shiny Hunters, leaking around 160 million records, credit records, personal data, finances.
So here is a system that demands biometric verification, centralizes data, and then gets catastrophically breached. That's the exact scenario warned by conspiracy thinkers.
Also, nationwide digital identity systems in various countries have seen breaches. Voter databases, health systems, identity registers. These are common targets. The pattern is well documented.
Every time data is centralized, attackers see big returns. When you make one system that holds identity, plus finances, plus credentials, a breach is a jackpot.
And those leaks become tools: identity theft, fraud, blackmail, social engineering.
Now let's move to the slippery slope. Once digital ID is accepted infrastructure, how far is it to a Chinese-style social credit?
In China, the social credit model ties behavior, financial, social, legal into a scoring mechanism that controls benefits, travel, credit, even what you can buy. The architecture is already partly built by digital surveillance, data tracking, facial recognition.
Yes. So, in a country like the UK, with digital ID tied to work, state services, banking, we are giving the state the tools to monitor everything you do. If you miss a payment, behave undesirably, political dissent, or just data anomalies, the system could begin to degrade your score without your real awareness.
Skeptically, I'd argue that democratic oversight, laws, debates, courts, and constitutional rights act as brakes, but those brakes rely on power staying distributed. If the executive, contractors, or tech providers concentrate control, the safeguards weaken.
And function creep is nearly inevitable. They begin by saying only for right-to-work checks, then for welfare access, then for renting property, for travel, for customized insurance rates, for credit scoring before you know it. Everything is filtered through your digital identity rating.
That's exactly what worries civil rights groups. The fear is not the initial rollout, but the second, third, and fourth waves.
And once you have that infrastructure, you can punish dissenters, marginalize political troublemakers, socially isolate people who fall out of line. The tools become weapons.
But to push back, to get to full social credit, you need not just data, but rules, enforcement agencies, a registry, transparency or non-transparency, judicial control. It's a big leap.
Sure, but the architecture is the same. Identity plus surveillance plus scoring decisions. We're building toward it. All the pieces are being laid incrementally. Also, if they had this during the fake pandemic, they could have locked us down harder and for longer. They could have mandated that you couldn't enter a shop or public place without your digital ID, and most would have complied. And then when they released the vaccine, they could have recorded it using that.
Wayne, what about the argument that digital identity can also empower people, make services easier, reduce fraud, help the unbanked, give people control over their own identity?
That's the carrot. The pitch is convenience, efficiency, you'll never have to show proof again. But the stick is always there. You can't access X unless you comply. The temptation to centralize is enormous.
Also, not all digital ID systems are catastrophic. Some, like in parts of Europe or the Baltics, have stronger legal frameworks, audit logs, transparency, citizen consent. But yes, the risk is higher without those guardrails.
That's a valid nuance. A well-designed system could mitigate some risk, but we rarely live in ideal conditions. Also, well-designed means strong decentralization, open audits, minimal data sharing, opt-out rights, encryption, robust legal restraints hardly guaranteed.
Critics will also say the UK's proposals are still vague in many respects. We don't yet see the full architecture, the rights, the redress, the fallback.
That's part of the strategy. Roll out in stages, create dependence, then fill in the gaps. We accept the first phase, then the next seems reasonable, then next.
As a skeptic, I'd always ask, who controls the infrastructure? Who audits it? Who has oversight? What are the checks and balances?
Here are the takeaways I want listeners to hold on to. Digital ID is not just efficiency, it is power. History warns us, centralized systems get hacked, abused, turned into control tools. Vietnam's case is a brutal example. Lockouts, bank deactivations, biometric coercion, function creep and score systems are the logical next steps if you let the system expand. We must demand design constraints, transparency, legal protections, audit access, or risk sliding into surveillance authoritarianism.
And my cautious counterbalance. Some benefits are real, particularly for authentication, fraud prevention, service access. Implementation details, legal architecture, citizen rights matter. Democracy, free press, court oversight are essential guardrails. Vigilance always asks, who built it, who controls it, what can't we see?
I mentioned the risk of longer lockdowns earlier in the show. Over in America, Dr. Fauci has said he reckons there will be another pandemic. He's a cabal mouthpiece, so we need to be listening to him.
Come on, Wayne. There's not always a conspiracy around every corner.
That may be so, but that man flip-flopped on everything during the pandemic, and we know with his help that gain-of-function research was done in China and there were various labs in the Ukraine. He just changed the definition of what gain-of-function was.
Yeah, I have seen the documents showing gain-of-function labs in the Ukraine. They are openly admitting it nowadays. Before the war in Ukraine, they denied that the CIA were doing any, and then suddenly there were dozens and they had secured them from falling into Russian hands.
Funny that.
Anyway, moving on. What about the Epstein files? Trump has said that he is thinking of pardoning Maxwell.
It's madness. I had high hopes for Trump and Bongino. I would listen to Bongino all the time. He made his name on a podcast stating he had sources that said the list was real and this and that would come out. As soon as he has power, suddenly the list doesn't exist. It's a Democrat hoax. I can't tell you how angry I feel about it all. They've betrayed everyone.
Yeah, I understand, but if there is no list, then why is Maxwell in prison? What do you think is happening?
I am not sure, but Trump can't be getting blackmailed as if he was on the list. They would have used it against him in the election, and none of the victims say he did anything to them. Trump just associated with him, but they don't appear to be close friends.
So what do you think happened?
I did hear something worrying.
What was it?
Well, I heard that during the Biden presidency, the deep state cabal types had 4 years to add fake documents to the evidence pile that implicates many innocent people, including Trump, and there is no way to differentiate between the real documents and the fake ones, so any prosecution is going to bring down people who weren't involved, and it is going to make Trump look guilty.
That's shocking, but that's all just conspiracy talk. None of it can be proven.
It's what I've heard online, and while I can't prove it, I do think that might be the reason. Why else would people who have made their name off exposing the list suddenly do an about turn and decide they are going to quit soon?
You might be onto something there, but we have other things that we need to get through. What else would you like to talk about?
So, it has been announced that YouTube and other tech giants have been reinstated, having previously been banned for giving out false information.
That's good news. Some people got compensation too.
It is good news, but they are lying and going to get away with it. They are saying that the Sleepy Joe presidency pressured them to do it, but the purge started before Sleepy Joe got into office. It started when the Hunter Biden laptop was being discussed, and that was during the election when Trump was president for the first time.
Ah, yes, the laptop from hell.
Yeah, the one that didn't exist, that dozens of CIA operatives wrote a letter saying didn't exist. Turns out, it does exist.
Don't forget, they were also lying about COVID, and if you even suggested researching a horse dewormer, you'd lose your channel.
Sarah, I thought you were the skeptical one.
I am usually, but this was just too obvious. Sometimes the Democrats and their operatives are just too blatant. I don't know how they get any support. If a natural skeptic like me can see these things, why not them?
Maybe they do, but many are Marxists and are happy to watch the world burn so they can seize control when it all comes crashing down.
No, Wayne. Maybe the logical explanation is they are just stupid and not part of some vast Marxist conspiracy. Not everyone is a Marxist working for lizard people.
Who mentioned lizard people?
Just joking on that part. Maybe they are just stupid, though?
Can they not be stupid and Marxist?
Yeah, they can.
At least we have some common ground on that one. That may be the perfect way to end the show. You're listening to Wayne's World.
Thanks for joining us.